The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week in FRCmedia News, the first wrongful death suit related to the Gabriel House fire has been filed in Superior Court. And we preview what parents and students at Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School can expect when classes start next week. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, August 21st, 2025. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. The family of one of the 10 residents who perished in the Gabriel House fire on July 13th has filed a wrongful death suit in Bristol County Superior Court. The civil suit was filed on behalf of Jason Duddy, son and personal representative of the estate of 69-year-old Margaret Duddy, who perished in that fire. Listed as defendants in the suit are Gabriel Care LLC, doing business as Gabriel House, Dennis and Karen Etzkorn as trustees and operators of Gabriel House, and Fire Systems Incorporated of Dartmouth, which provided the fire alarms and safety systems for Gabriel House and is responsible for their testing and upkeep. Attorney Stephen Saber represents the plaintiffs and says the basis of the charges of reckless conduct and gross negligence against the owners and operators of Gabriel House stems from the operation and conditions at the facility on Oliver Street.
If there's adequate staffing, then maybe people are able to get out in time. If there is some type of a plan, an evacuation plan, fire drill that the staff is aware of, that people are aware of, maybe they get out in time. So all those things are, would be critical, especially in a facility where you have people that are disabled. Some have maybe some level of dementia or other physical problems. They didn't have a way to really get out of their rooms because the AC units were put in the main window, and so they couldn't get out that way. So people had to be dragged out of the bathroom window. In order to do that, because the bathroom window was so small, they had the fire personnel had to rip out some of the wood around the window to drag these poor people out of this building.
The suit also alleges that Fire Systems Incorporated did not adequately maintain the fire suppression systems within the building.
The issue with the fire systems is this: some part of the sprinkler system had been recalled years previous, and it was publicized. And so the issue is, if the sprinkler systems still had these recalled parts, that's a big issue in the case, because if the sprinkler systems worked correctly, then they would have suppressed the fire where it happened, and it wouldn't have spread, and the smoke wouldn't have spread, and we wouldn't have had I don't think the deaths that resulted.
The plaintiff also seeks punitive damages to be awarded, which are not generally allowed in wrongful death cases.
In a wrongful death case, if you can show gross negligence and reckless conduct. So in our view, this is one of those cases that rise to a higher level than just negligence, and it rises to the level of gross negligence because of all the failings that we've alleged in this complaint by all the parties. It's meant to punish the defendants, and that's what the law says. So it would be up to a jury to decide based on the evidence whether they should be punished and at what level, versus compensatory damages are more about How much are the medical bills? What's the pain and suffering? How has it affected the person's life? These people have all been displaced, right? I mean, they're used to living in this particular facility, and now they're spread out over mostly in the city at various nursing homes.
Attorney Saber has also filed suit on behalf of two of the survivors of the fire who suffered injuries. He says we'll never know the suffering around Margaret Duddy's death, but the impact of those who survived will likely be long-lasting.
The stories I'm hearing at this point are that, the residents there are having nightmares, and people that lived there all had relationships with each other. These people were all kind of friends because they lived in the same building. So the fact that their friends have died, and that they experienced this night of July 13th and what went down there is it's not going to go away for them.
Attorney Saber says it's likely their cases will be combined with others who have already filed suit.
I would see a judge in Superior Court looking at all these cases, and they're not going to be separate trials, because the liability is the same for everyone. We all have to prove the liability part of it. So there's this commonality with regard to proving liability, but there's a difference and a distinction with every case as far as the damages go. Obviously, the wrongful death case is different from some of the cases by the survivors. So I would think at some point they're going to have to be joined in some fashion, in order to move this forward to some kind of a conclusion eventually.
The Bristol County District Attorney's Office still needs to determine if any criminal charges will be filed in the case. A preliminary report released last month pointed to the cause of the fire as being accidental, starting in a second-floor room that contained medical oxygen and smoking materials. Attorney Saber says the progress of the civil suits will likely take months, regardless of a settlement or if the case goes to trial.
Next steps would be, certainly from our investigation standpoint, is some type of inspection of the building once we can get expert witnesses and people in there to look at everything. And then from a procedural standpoint in the court system, the next step is to serve the defendants, to have civil process served on the defendants. They have 20 days to answer, and then you go through what's called discovery, which is written discovery and depositions. So as far as the timeline goes, it could be several years before the cases are resolved.
Schools in Fall River open next week, and this week we continue our look at what parents and students can expect as the new school year begins. There's more than teaching and learning on the minds of those returning on August 27th for another academic year at Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School. The 2025-2026 school year will be the last in its current building on Stonehaven Road. Next fall, students and teachers will migrate to a new building nearing completion on the school's campus. Assistant Superintendent and Principal Leslie Weckerser says construction of the new school has afforded students with exciting learning opportunities.
All of our building trades have been. They've done tons of the tours in the layouts. We've actually even hosted other local vocational schools that are through the MSBA pipeline to bring their kids over as well. That has been very active. Our last AP of Vocational Affairs would take them monthly. We've also had some of the organized labor over there come and talk to our students, which has been a unique opportunity that we've taken advantage of. We had the women in trades come over and speak to our students, our female students that are in the construction clusters, to talk about opportunities through these type of building projects and the need for skilled labor. So that's been a great experience that we've been able to build into our regular curriculum.
As the vocational programs evolve at Diman, so have the options in providing supplemental educational support.
We're trying to create electives that connect to students' career pathways, because a lot of times when they take their vocational programs, they understand what the light at the end of the tunnel is. But finding that unique opportunity to tie back their academics to the trades they're learning and what they could do for that. We have a couple of courses that are running this year as electives for our students. For example, photojournalism, tying in the ability to take photography and tie it into writing. I mean, every single one of our careers that we offer here puts out tons of monthly publications of magazines, and knowing that if you have a love for English, you can tie that back to your specific trade. We are also diving a little bit deeper into some of our use of technology and our public speaking electives, which will strengthen the type of employee that we produce for the future, and also get the kids to understand that their academics are directly tied to their vocational programs. They're just learning it a different way.
Outside the classroom, Ms. Weckerser says students continue to suggest activities that are of interest to them.
We have two student groups last year that petitioned to do a Dungeons and Dragons club that we're hosting after school, and then a badminton club, which is a little difficult because, as you can see, we don't even have outside space. All our athletics are off campus right now. So even though we're offering a full repertoire of everything that we do, Skills USA, DECA, BPA, our photo club, our art club, those are still all going to run, as well as our athletics. But I think that there's a unique opportunity in that new building with more space that will be able to open the conversation on what are some of the things that will keep the students engaged after school and connected to the Diman community.
During construction, traffic patterns and parking options have shifted for students and teachers, and this year will be no different. That's why the school remains committed to continuous conversation with those within and outside the Diman community.
We have been hosting, I would say bi-monthly community forum meetings where we publicize and we have the community can come in and ask questions. But I can tell you over the next week, we're on a timeline right now where our traffic pattern is going to change. It's going to shift a little bit. So I've been working with the building contractor and one of our electronics teacher who flies a drone and has been able to do some aerial footage for us to put together a short video so that I can place on social media, email out to parents so that they understand our traffic flow. Next year, we're going to have to shift it multiple times. So it's going to be very, very important to make sure that I over-communicate that with students, staff, and faculty.
When the new school year opens next fall, the process will begin to demolish the old building to make way for the construction of the school's athletic fields. Gabriel Boomer Amaral officially launched his campaign for mayor last evening at a fundraiser at TA Restaurant on South Main Street. Mr. Amaral has run for city council twice and felt now was the time for him to run for mayor for what he says is city government's lack of attention to the wishes of residents.
As a father, as a family man, as an employee, as a worker, as your provider, you had enough. You can't just continue to take and take and take and give us nothing back. And at the same time, I can't let my kids play in the streets. I can't. We grew up here. We lived here our whole lives for the most part, and it's not what it used to be. And everybody just seems to be ignoring it. And the same thing's happening. The only problem that we have is our government continues to take from us. They continue to put the people aside, it seems. I feel like we've been ignored too long, and the people need to be heard again. And I think that's a big part of it. I think people are just tired of not being heard, not being a focus point, not being just able to get it out and find some kind of relief. And I think I can bring that to them, and my goal is to bring that to them.
Mr. Amaral grew up in Fall River, served 19 years in the military, and now sells real estate. He's a single dad with 6 children who have become engaged in his campaign.
My kids are involved, and I love that. And the fact that they're asking to be involved, they want to do more, they want to be part of it is great. And they're just hearing things that they didn't hear, and they're learning so much about it. It's like, oh, I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, so that's why that happened. So they're investigating now. You know, they're thinking for themselves. They're learning. So I think it's going great. They're very involved. My oldest daughter, you know, she works, and she's an adult too, so she kind of does her own thing for the most part. But when she's home, how can I help? You know, and they're all like that. And then I obviously have my younger kids who are just, you know, can I go play? You know, can I play Fortnite? Can I do that stuff? You know, I'm still a dad at the end of the day. But yeah, they always want to help when I'm going out, and I like that.
Mr. Amaral believes if elected, there is no single issue that will dominate his attention.
Our education's the lowest it's ever been. Our crime is the highest all the time. You know, depending on what stat you're looking at, you're between 1 and 4, and the worst in the whole state. Same thing with education. You know, everybody wants to worry about cost of living and rents, and certain things you can control, certain things you can't control. But there's ways to alleviate and try to help. You know, there's plans that I have that I want to work into and see if they can help with, you know, that kind of stuff with rents. I can't tell a landlord that you can't charge whatever you want, right? But at the end of the day, I can work with homeowners and see, hey, meet me halfway. Let's see if we can do this and make it better for everyone. And if we can do that, we're a better city for it. So you're going to need some buy-in from the people, right? You're going to need some buy-in from the city council, the school committee. You're going to need some buy-in, but I think I'm the person that can do that. I'm very good at building teams. I'm very good at working together. I've worked in the military for 19 years. I've played sports my whole life. Teams is what I do. So I think we have a very good shot at being able to make it work.
Mr. Amaral is one of 5 candidates on the Fall River preliminary ballot for mayor that voters will face on September 16th. The others are incumbent Mayor Paul Coogan and challengers Carlos Caesar, Christopher Sylvia, and Michael Vandal. Stay with FRC Media as we begin our coverage of election 2025. Information for voters and candidate statements and interviews can be found on our special election webpage, frmedia.org/election 2025. Fall River's unemployment rate for July dipped compared to June. The jobless rate is 6.2%, down from 6.3% the month prior. Last July, the city's unemployment rate was 5.9%. The rates in regional gateway cities were all higher in July. The state's unemployment rate remained unchanged at 4.8%. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Project Manager, Rexel USA, located at 221 Weaver Street, seeks a full-time project manager, responsible for managing project business by placing orders, tracking shipments, and billing the customer correctly. Job number 229-29104. Lead Wastewater Operator, Natural Systems Utilities, located at 21 Father de Valles Boulevard, is urgently looking for a full-time lead wastewater operator, responsible for training and overseeing the daily activities of the operations and staff. Job number 229-31966. Chiropractic Assistant, Primacare Chiropractic, located at 289 Pleasant Street, is seeking a full-time chiropractic assistant to assist the chiropractic physician with a variety of tasks as well as scheduling appointments and administrative duties. Job number 229-28084. Bartender, Pub 99, located at 404 Pleasant Street, is urgently looking for a full-time bartender. For more information, call 508-673-5999. South Coast Health, located at 363 Highland Avenue, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Emergency Service Registered Nurse, job number 229-30037. RN Cardiac Cath Structural Heart Nurse, job number 229-31240. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. It's time again to take a look at local business and economic development news across the city of Fall River. I'm joined by Kevin Lawrence. He is the editor, owner, and publisher of Fall River Development News. You can find that on Facebook. Kevin, how are you today?
Very well. A pleasure to be here with you once again.
All right, let's get started. There is a mill on Plymouth Avenue that a lot of people may have seen from time to time. they're going to be changing hands very soon.
Yeah, well, actually, it's already happened. I'm talking about 288 Plymouth Avenue. This is a self-storage facility. It's got a bizarre facade on the exterior of the building, kind of a mixed use of color. They installed that facade back in 2023 when they turned it into a self-storage center. This is at 288 Plymouth Avenue, and the building has been sold for $19.3 million. It's a four-story mill. It was actually built back in the late 1800s, this mill, so it's a historic mill, even though it's been covered over by this new exterior facade. It currently is the home of Store Space Self-Storage. Now, the signs were removed, Keith, earlier this week, and the new owner is going to rebrand it. The self-storage facility will be a CubeSmart self-storage facility. That's a national self-storage franchise, so they'll be converting that. By the way, the Carter's clothing, which is still in the rear of the building, will remain at that mill complex, but it's noteworthy because it's adjacent to 195, and the fact that this building sold for over $19 million says something about Fall River's real estate prices.
Well, not just that, but I mean, we see a lot of those storage, units going up all around. I mean, not just Fall River. I mean, you see it in Rhode Island, all over. And I guess there's some money to be made in that, apparently, for with that $19 million sales tag.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people with apartments. They don't have any place to
Yeah.
store their belongings, so they're using these self-storage facilities, and especially in a city like Fall River, there's a lot of residential apartment buildings, and there's a need for this apparently.
Yeah, and apparently, for people who don't know, everyone has probably seen it who's watching this. If you are going on 195 East and you take the Plymouth Avenue exit at the bottom of the hill, that mill is right in front of you, right at the lights there at
Yeah.
Plymouth Avenue off the highway. All right, moving on. This is going to be now a new construction project along Duval Street. We talked about this before. I believe it was called the 609.
Yep.
Their plans have changed a bit.
Yeah, 609 Duval Street. This is on Duval Street northbound, right as you get off of Route 79. Now, in January, the Fall River Redevelopment Authority sold a small parcel of land at the corner of Turner and Duval Streets to a Boston-based developer. Heath Development is the entity that's going to be constructing this new residential apartment building. And according to the construction website, buildup.com, the purchase of this additional lot at the corner of Turner and Duval will allow for an increase in the size of the project. So they were originally going to do about 50 residential units at 609 Duval Street. They've upped that to 160, and the original plans called for a 6-story building. This appears, according to the rendering that I've received, to be a 7-story structure. The first level would be parking, and then the 6 other levels would be residential apartment units to be constructed on Duval Street.
I know that the discussions around what may be done with the after Route 79 is finished and all that land, they were talking about, the city has been talking about structures no higher than 6 stories. This is
That's
7
correct.
stories, even though it's sort of like behind Duval Street, if you will,
Yeah.
where that development will be taking place. Interesting to see. Are there any other meetings, any other clearances that need to be done here? Do you
This
know?
will go in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals. They're going to need a special permit to go to 7 stories if they want to do a 7-story building, because it's only 6 stories are allowed
Right.
according to zoning regulations in that waterfront district along Duval Street. So they'll need a special permit or a variance to construct this building if it's going to be 7 stories. We'll see how that meeting goes.
Yeah. All right. And finally, this week, we've talked a lot about work that's been happening on Pleasant Street in Fall River. And another property is going under some rehabilitation.
Yeah, there's been so much talk about redeveloping residential units along Pleasant Street. Finally, something is happening. Construction has started on a building at 1446 and 1454 Pleasant Street. It's an eyesore. It's an abandoned 4-story building. It's been vacant for quite some time. Construction has begun. The property is owned by Tatro Real Estate LLC, and they're planning to put 13 one-bedroom and studio apartments into this building. They also removed the 2 storefronts at the ground level, and they've put in a new entry door, and they've put vinyl siding on the first level of the building. So we're looking forward to this rehab. This will be the first major rehab on Pleasant Street in quite some time.
Yeah. All right. You can find out more on Kevin's work by visiting Fall River Development News on Facebook. Please give him a like and a share. He would appreciate it. And I appreciate Kevin being here every week. All right, Kevin, we'll do it again next week. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we are here with Bose. Bose has been here for about 5 weeks now. She is a domestic long hair, 3 years old, and is super duper sweet. She is a dilute calico, which means that the oranges are kind of a little less and it's more of a cream color. So if you're looking for a unique colored cat, a unique fur pattern, oh, Bose is definitely the cat for you. She is super sweet, super friendly. She loves people, loves talking to people. If you are looking for a cat to just have some quality time with and just relax with, Bose is definitely the one that you're looking for. So if you want to come down and meet Bose, you can come on down to Forever Paws Animal Shelter at 300 Linwood Street, Fall River, Mass. You can call at 508-677-9154 or go to our website at www.foreverpaws.com.
Today we have Saluka. She's a 1-year-old pug chihuahua crossbreed. She came in as a stray, and because of that we don't really know her past, so we would recommend a home with children over 12 years old. Because she's a stray, we don't really know much of her past, so we would recommend a home with kids that are over 12 years old, kind of more teenagers. Since she's younger, she can be a little nervous at times, but she gets through it very well. She has never shown any aggression. She's just a little more new to the world. She can be very, very loving when she's up in your arms, and as soon as you put her down, she's a bouncy, playful puppy. If you would like to come visit Toluca, you can come see her at Forever Paws Animal Shelter at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts, or you can visit our website, foreverpaws.com, or call us at 508-677-9154.
That's all for this week's edition of FRC Media News. Visit our website, frmedia.org, for more local news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 95 and the Fall River HD channel, which you can find on Channel 1072. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.